On the record in cause number 326324. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Clifford Arthur Ritchie. Is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ritchie, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Ritchie, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes,
You may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Ritchie?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good as well. Thanks for asking. Mr. Ritchie, the information alleges that on or about February 22nd of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed a Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Ritchie, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Mr. Ritchie, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
Now, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchie, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 1. You notice here that the top box is checked because this is a Class A misdemeanor.
Yes,
Do you recognize this document?
yes,
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. Ritchie, are these your initials on the line that says no contingent, which means no contest?
yes, sir.
On page 3 of this document, Mr. Ritchie, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is that your signature above this line?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ritchie, I have another document here. Hold on a minute. Okay, Mr. Ritchie, I have another document here. This document is titled the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Mr. Ritchie, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And on, do you have a discovery certification? And on this document, there's a signature above the line that says defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
There's one box that's checked at the top of this document. This box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I have another document here. This document is titled the discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is that your signature on the second line of this document?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Ritchie, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'd also like to offer State's Exhibit number 2. That's the probable cause affidavit for this case.
Mr. LeBlanc, do you have any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objections. State's Exhibits number 1 and State's Exhibit number 2 are admitted. Mr. LeBlanc, you've advised and counseled Mr. Ritchie. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No evidence, Your Honor.
Mr. Ritchie, your attorney, Mr. LeBlanc, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ritchie, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea of no contest and waivers was freely and voluntarily given. I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 180 days to be probated over 18 months, $750 fine, 80 hours community service, the interlock, the DWI education course, and the drug and alcohol assessment.
Mr. Ritchie, The state is offering that you serve 180 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in jail because you'll be on probation for 18 months. During the 18-month probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $750 plus court costs, which comes to a total of $1,167. You'll also be required to pay probation fees of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee each month of $15. You will also be required to pay the Jefferson County DWI education class an initial evaluation fee of $125. Should a further evaluation be needed, you will be required to pay an additional $50. The total amount of your monthly installments that you would have to pay in this case is $145. Mr. Ritchie, would you be able to pay the $145 each month?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Ritchie, you will also be required to perform 80 hours of community service, install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own and operate. You'll also be required to attend the DWI education class and have an alcohol and drug assessment. Mr. Ritchie, you will also be required to adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of your probation. Mr. Ritchie, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Ritchie, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Ritchie, please stand on the X where your attorney is standing and follow the directions of the clerk. And once you finish in this court with your case, you'll be free to go. And you have a blessed day, and you have a blessed day as well, Mr.
Thank you, Judge.